Thank you very much. As usual, good day to you, good morning, wherever and whenever you listen to these teachings. As we said, we are on the path for peace, and with it, peace comes with the soul of the man and everything else. So what we got to do is to find peace in every aspect of the technology as we are. As you were aware, yesterday I addressed directly the situation which has risen at Ghana Atomic in respect to the director of Ghana Atomic Commission. We have respect for the organization with no problem. But after our presentation yesterday, the minister responsible for the atomic has gone, giving a direct interview, making certain comments which we have to put right. First of all, as part of his comment, he says they have checked and there is no nuclear engineering in Queen Mary College. A lot of you don't know, some of you do know. I am a nuclear physicist, I'm a nuclear engineer. Some of the elite scientists who've been trained by the British government in 1980s and 70s, at the same time trained for the Iranian nuclear centers to be opened up, which was planned during the Shah's regime. As we said, we have been asked this question and many people have raised it. I've asked for some papers to be found because when I received my degree, it came in a toilet roll. I hung it on the toilet roll in the toilet of the house, and my mother said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "This paper worth nothing because the knowledge is not in it what it should be." I got it because I was advised to, but for me, physics and plasma technology is different. We couldn't find a degree, so about 4 or 5 years ago when we set up the Keshe Foundation Research and Development, BBBA, which is a limited company in Belgium, the Belgian authorities wanted the documents to be confirmed that I am a nuclear physicist, otherwise they won't issue and they won't allow the Research and Development, Keshe Foundation Research and Development, BBBA, to be opened. It took us some time. We managed to get the paper and they wanted the original, so they kept it. So those who have a problem, if you are a nuclear physicist or not, they have to go back to the Belgian government or go back to Queen Mary College. What is insulting, there are a couple of things which I think the minister has to correct, is that, of course, there is no atomic and nuclear at the moment in Queen Mary College. I'll explain to you one by one. Rick, you have a paper from QueenAry College. Could you put it up?
Okay, just
this
a minute.
This is a paper in 1979 after the Iranian Revolution. In those days, we had to sign papers, government had to sign, the embassy has to sign papers that we could get funding from home, that we could pay for our expenses of living. This paper is confirming Queen Mary College that I am a 3-year nuclear engineer, studying in nuclear engineering, not this one, the other one, please.
Oh.
And in that process, we used to take the papers back to our embassy. The Iranian embassy had to endorse it, that we could send it back home, that our parents could forward money, transfer money to amount which was allowed per student. So those of who say there was no nuclear engineering and there is no accusation of lying, please read this paper, go back to Queen Mary College, and we ask you to do one thing. Have you got it? It's the last text I sent you.
Yes, just a second here. I just have it in 2 places.
So
there it is.
My advice to the minister in charge in Ghana is, please, sir, check your facts. Unless there's a hidden agenda, this confirms directly from Queen Mary College, and it tells you, I read it for you. This is to certify that Mr. Mehran Tavakoli Keshe is a full-time registered student of the Queen Mary College, reading for the BSc Engineering degree of the University of London in the Department of Nuclear Engineering. The student commenced his course on the 2nd of 1978 and is expected to complete his studies in July 1981. Endorsement at that time after the Revolution of Iran by Islamic Republic for the students, and on the other side signed by the Registry Office of the Queen Mary College, stamped on the letter of Queen Mary College. So my advice to you is, sir, withdraw allegations. The advisors to the minister advise, as usual, to the benefit of their pocket, and we'll send a copy of this directly to the president's office. The arrangements and meetings are taking place as we speak in Ghana to just give the facts that does not take root. On the other hand, there's a very interesting thing. If you look at this date, it says expected to be graduating in July 1981. In Queen Mary College, we are considered elite scientists when we graduated as nuclear physicists. So our final research wasn't just something to do. Our final research became the basis for the next scientists to work. We were the front runners of nuclear industry. Very few. If you go back and check the register of the university, something like 13 nuclear physicists were trained by Queen Mary, and one specialized in reactor system control, which I was one. And in that process, our work was more or less considered as the head of research. What it needed to be researched in was given to students, because then the students became the researchers, the professors in the department or in the country. What is interesting is that I have a lot of respect for my senior scientists. I have a lot of respect. In so many ways, I found pleasure to be as part of the Queen Mary College Nuclear Engineering Department through one man. I met the man across the table interviewing me if he is going to accept me as a nuclear engineer or he's going to accept me as nuclear reactor science technologist. I went to the interview, sat in front of the man. He asked me a few questions. He said to me, "Mehran, you're a genius. I cannot choose which one I'm going to offer you. You choose which course, write back to me. You've got the course." I wrote back to him. I said, I want to be a nuclear physicist. I want to be a nuclear reactor design control. Just 1 second, please. And in that process, Professor Leslie became my mentor. He taught me a lot. I sat many times one-to-one, him teaching me his research papers. In my 3rd year, I literally, 2 of my courses was him telling me, giving me the ethos of nuclear scientists. He said to me in my 2nd year, "Mehran, there is a big problem. I want you to research. You've been 2 years on the nuclear reactor working with Dr. Shaw. Now, I want you to do something. I designed your project, you carry it out." I said, "What is it?" He said, "You'll understand, one day you'll understand, but this is the way I want you to do this research." He said, "We don't have anybody, and this is an important research for me." I understood as a 3rd-year student exactly what he meant. He said, "I'm sending you somewhere to gain some more physical knowledge before you come back in for your 3rd year." He sent me to British Nuclear Field to work in British Nuclear at the highest level. I still see the face of Professor Leslie, slim man, very calm, very serene. And he had an aura about him. He knew nuclear industry inside out. You see it in front of it. If you put the other paper out, this is by independent newspaper about Professor Leslie. Can you go to the top, please? Can you go to the top of this page? Rick, yes. I'll read to you what Independent says. Would you like to read it, Rick?
Sure. Okay, this is a obituary for Professor David Leslie. The top part says, David Clement Leslie, consultant engineer, born Australia, 18th December 1924. Staff, Sir W.G. Armstrong Whitworth Aircraft, Coventry, 1951 to 54. Guided Weapons Division, RAE Farnborough, 1954 to 58. UKAEA, Harwell and Winfrith, 1958 to 68. Professor of Nuclear Engineering, Queen Mary College, London, 1968 to 1984. Director, Turbulence Unit, 1975 to 1990. Senior Consultant, 1990 to 93. Dean, Faculty of Engineering, 1980 to 83. safety advisor to local authorities for the Sizewell Inquiry, 81 to 87, married 1952, Thea Wenborn, 3 sons, 2 daughters, died Great Missenden, Buckinghamshire, 27th of August, 1993. David Leslie worked in the aerospace and nuclear industries and made his greatest contributions in teaching and research, notably as director of the turbulence unit at Queen Mary and Westfield College, London, from 1975 to 1990. Leslie's love of physics and mathematics led him from Oxford University in 1950 to apply his considerable skills in the aerospace industry, first at Armstrong Whitworth, where he was responsible for aerodynamic design, and later at Farnborough. He was then attracted by the nuclear industry, which in the 50s was one of the newest and fastest growing high technology industries in the UK. He joined the United Kingdom Atomic Energy Authority, and his initial work at the Harwell and Winfrith laboratories in 1958 to 59 was in neutron physics, and in particular into how graphite moderated reactors, the then preferred British reactor system, should be designed for the efficient production of energy. He later led a theoretical thermal hydraulic program associated with the British design for a steam-generating heavy water reactor system. Leslie believed passionately that nuclear power would enhance the quality of life and would benefit the environment. He worked on nuclear reactor safety cases and in then relatively new area of safety analysis. He was always fascinated by inherently complex physical phenomena and was keen to use his extensive mathematical and numerical skills to analyze them. He kept beautifully handwritten and indexed notebooks. Secretaries and typists had no problems in typing his manuscripts, although it was always a pleasure to read from his originals. It was while he was working for the Atomic Energy Authority that he developed an interest in turbulence, which he took with him when, in 1968, he left Winfrith to become the head of the nuclear engineering department at Queen Mary and Westfield College. Turbulence became his main area of research, and in 1973, he wrote what has now become a classic in this field, Developments in the Theory of Turbulence. Later in the 70s, he set up a research group, the Turbulence Unit, which was the first systematically to study the computer simulation of generic turbulence for the fast breeder reactor, mixing flows in the environment and turbulence behind wings of aircraft. The unit obtained funds from SERC, the Science and Engineering Research Council, the DTI, and the MOD, as well as a number of industrial concerns. The unit still exists at QMWC and continues to work in areas pioneered by Leslie. A number of his students and co-workers have gone on to work in the similar areas at other institutes. Leslie contributed a great deal to QMWC, serving on numerous committees as well as becoming Dean of the Engineering Faculty. He was an extraordinarily conscientious teacher, keen to ensure that his students were constantly encouraged and given whatever support he could provide. As one of his undergraduate tutees, I remember being in his office when he was carefully showing me how to obtain a solution to a differential equation. The telephone rang. He picked it up and said, "Will you please call me back in 15 minutes?" and put the receiver back. I must have looked puzzled because he turned to me and said, "I regard teaching as very important," and continued solving the differential equation. His family and religious belief provided him with great inner strength. He was a practicing Christian Scientist who gave his time freely to his church. He was a committed father who, even during the most demanding phase of his career, found time to read stories to each of his 5 children. Okay. So that's Professor David.
Now you understand. Many of my interviews and talks I speak about him. He taught us ethos of being correct in nuclear industry. And what is interesting, I find it insulting, a minister saying there is no department when a man like him put his life to teach. Dear Minister, please read, there was a nuclear engineering department. And I show you something else. Those who've been around me understand very clearly what happened. As you can read, can you show us the second page, please, the other paper I sent you? If you remember the first page we showed you with the endorsement of the Iranian embassy in London, it says, I graduated in 1981. One of the things which was a main concern for Professor Leslie was safety. And he, in detail, as an undergraduate, he explained to me his concern. He said, you've been in that reactor from the first week you came to university. I want you to do these tests. We had nuclear plates in the reactor. It wasn't what we call graphite. We could plate. We had aluminum plate, 95%, 97% enriched uranium, which is only for military and studies. He said there is a concern, and whatever you write at the end of your thesis will make a lot of decisions for me. He sent me, as I said, to BNFL, British Nuclear Fuel, to gather knowledge. And then when I wrote my thesis, I had to literally do twice a week, get a bus from Queen Mary to the other side of my land, get into the nuclear site, get in the operating room, get on the floor, load up reactors to learn exactly how you load reactors and whatever, and then start making notes. But sometime in March, we became very clear we are sitting on a nuclear bomb. I said to Professor Leslie, I said to Dr. Shaw, does anybody know this? They said no. I explained to the professor, I'll switch table to another one. Can I share a screen, please?
Sorry? Did you say you want to share screen? Hello, Mr. Keshe?
Okay, I'm here. Those who've been around me, they know about what, and I was spoken about this many times. What we had to do, according to what Professor Leslie wanted, was to explore the problem. You have to remember, if in the background, please, Rick or anybody can find 3 Mile nuclear reactor, 3 Mile Island disaster. That was a fundamental point for all of us in nuclear industry in Britain. I explain more. What we did, we had a nuclear reactor. The control room is somewhere here. We load up, we move concrete bricks, and we load up plates in different configuration. We loaded high-level radiation, low-level radiation. What is assumed when the reactor was built was this phenomenon. What we actually, with loading, found out was disaster. Bigger peak outside. This was covering control room. Was some of it beyond the boundary of station. I said to Professor Leslie, we are in a big problem. He said, Mehran, you're right. I said, I give my thesis and I leave. He said, what is your recommendation? Shut down. We have to shut down. And then I said something else, because at BNFL, I was working on the aftermath to build a control room kilometers away, that if something like Fukushima happened, we had a remote control. I said to him, and Professor, and Dr. Shaw, when I gave my thesis, I think nuclear industry is not safe in UK. He said, what do you think? I said, I'm a student, but Three Mile Island happens in UK, we have to evacuate. I said, we've got the most powerful nuclear reactor sitting right in the center of London. This reactor you look at is right in Bow. This is Stanford, this is Mile End, Liverpool Street, all the banking system is here. All the other bits are here. This is Thames River. River going through was creating the cooling system. He said, what do you think? I said, I worked in BNFL. I walked out because I can't agree. But if what we had in 3 Mile Island happens here, and one of our major reactors go, we are all gone. We have to evacuate the nation. I left Queen Mary. Just 1 second, please. What it came back was my concern and many other scientists when we saw the 3 Mile Island. My advice as a newly graduate, wanted nothing to do with nuclear industry, was Queen Mary College nuclear reactor has to shut down. The pig sits outside and we are killing our own controllers. I left, had nothing to do with it. Strange enough, when I saw the article from the minister in Ghana, I put on the internet looking for Professor Leslie to send to the minister that there was a nuclear and we shut it down. The most advanced nuclear nation, Britain, has never built a single reactor. The reason we stopped teaching in 1980s was of this reason here. We lost the reactor. We would not have a reactor. And at the same time, advice of the nuclear physicists to the government, abandoning nuclear technology. A small island cannot take a major disaster. I left, and what I came across, Rick, would you like to show the paper you were showing, please? Can you go back and share?
Yes, just a second. I'll have to find it here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me, Mr. Keshe?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can
you please bring the other paper up?
Okay, you want the, which one again?
The one which you said the commissioning with a lot of pinkish on it.
Right.
So what, you can stop me sharing while I stop sharing. I never thought of it because that was me leaving the nuclear industry. Read this, what it says. Information released regarding, because now you can ask any information from the government. Government has to supply. This is the British law. It says information released regarding to the decontamination report of nuclear research reactor at Queen Mary College in London. Look at the dates. First letter dated September 1982. 1983, reactor went for decommissioning. The report and the consequence research showed reactor has to be shut down. And with that, Queen Mary College lost its atomic and nuclear department because there was no need when the government made a decision to stop the nuclear reactor and stop building nuclear reactors for energy. to train anymore. Mr. Minister, that's why there is no nuclear reactor. Most leading nation in nuclear industry, one of the front runners of nuclear industry, has decided not to produce any more nuclear reactors. That's why it's not there. So the accusation you made you couldn't find, you should have asked your researchers to go through and check data. We are very correct. And this actually shows the power of my research and my work as a student at Queen Mary College and work with atomic. Because if you can find on the internet, 3 Mile Island was a major accident. We were shutting British system. We went for PWRs, which is American system. And with the PWR, this is what happened. Some radiation was released through channels which are not supposed to be and got contaminating the area, known as the 3 Mile Island disaster. So we see there it is, 3 Mile Island accident. The 3 Mile accident was caused by nuclear meltdown that occurred in March 28, 1979. In June, July 1979, I joined IAEA, British Nuclear Fuel Structure, and that was a priority for them. As a specialist by my second year, I was asked to take over. And if you go back in my interviews over years, you see now everything comes together. Is exactly what we're telling you. So yesterday we saw the head of atomic saying that we don't have certificates. We showed we have. Now we see how it was accused that there is nothing there. I have been considered as one of the leading nuclear physicists specialized in plasma system, and I have shown you. Those who want the degree, please go to Queen Mary College and ask for them and send a copy to the minister. We do not pick anything, but what is interesting, why suddenly the minister and the head of atomic have targeted Keshe Foundation? We know the reason. I'm keeping silent. But if any more attack comes on Keshe Foundation, we open the books. Our team in Ghana are considering such a move. I have asked them to withhold, but they are not really interested. They advised us about 2 months ago that there is going to be such a thing. Shall we take a preempt? I said no, we leave it to the justice of time. We don't do anything. But we have enough evidence that can be extremely not good, especially for those who sit in Vienna. I think those who understand understood the message. We are a peaceful organization. We went there to help, we went to organize. But what has become apparent by being told by the heads of the standard board is you have brought an alternative technology into Ghana that makes atomic obsolete, so they have to stop you. They called Benjamin to tell him so. So they said, the standard board stands by you because we are all using it at our home. And it's correct, it works. That is why you got the certificate. Because we usually ask for tests. We have tens of them in the standard board management team in the house, and we have seen the reduction. It works, we give you the license by testing. So my advice to the minister is to retract the interview of yesterday. Mr. Minister, I'm much bigger to stand the threat and insult. I can open books at IAEA. Do not forget, I'm a senior advisor, nuclear physicist, and we have a lot of clout in what we do. We are humble, we walk among the man in a very humble way, but I know exactly what's going on as a senior advisor in nuclear industry. Please retract both interviews, and at the same time, I know the press which are listening, we release the papers, is for the minister to decide. If any damage or any attack comes on Keshe Foundation facilities or any threat, we will release information, and then it will not be very nice for those who make the threats. We are a peaceful organization. You have made accusations one after another. We know the reason. That's your prerogative. It's your nation. We respect it. But understand, do not go too far. I am a senior nuclear physicist, and my papers say I've been there for more than you had a hot meal on your plate. 1981, 1991, 2001, 2011, 2017. 36 years at realms of nuclear industry, direct and indirect. This is an insult to a heart surgeon. I would like to know, has to be withdrawn. We make an official complaint to the Ghanaian government. My team in Ghana, we are together, we set it up, and then it has to be addressed. Now you understand why these attacks suddenly come up, because the systems are going in, and when you can make 80% saving, 50% saving, immediately 2 nuclear reactors go out of circulation. Ghana is negotiating to receive by 2029 the first nuclear reactors, and they're at preliminary stage. My advice has been, if a nation like Britain abandons nuclear technology so early in 70s, in 80s, and then what happened, what we came across in 1986, we had the Chernobyl, which blew nuclear material right across Europe. And in England, in Wales, we still have 100 farms since 1986 that they'll never be farmed, no ship will walk on it, and will stay like this at least for up to 200 years, some of them, because of the contamination. I love England. I spent 30 years of my life. I'm loyal to the British system, the same as I'm loyal to my government in Iran. Every British citizen is part of my life. I accepted to become a nuclear physicist to protect, to guarantee life, not to kill life. But when I see accusation of an incompetent man, we have to put it on the table. What I advise the Ghanaian press who are looking, please walk into the 2 buildings of Ghana Atomic Commission and look. IAEA officers, they call it the bat office. No Ghanaian person is aware of that. These 2 buildings, which are supposedly heavily beautiful, are totally demolished inside. Tramps live in nuclear center in atomic. There are pictures. The president has never been taken to see, nor even the ministers. When I took the lawyer of the atomic to see them, he says, Mr. Keshe, this is not 50 meters away from my office. We never knew this. There is a massive cover-up in Ghana Atomic. Please, Your Excellency, President Nana, asked to see all the buildings of the atomic. Derelict, money is squandered, there is nothing left. I had to pay for every test for the materials. We take the challenge. If my factory is touched, or my office, my staff touched, we have no problem. We have certificate, we go somewhere else. But it has to be correct. Do not attack people who are loyal to your country, bring job, bring prosperity. And the gentleman from the press who's listening, please ask with bunch of press, when you go through the Ghana Atomic, the big reactor building you see, we can see it from the street, walk in there. Is a heap 2 meters high with rubbles. As you go on the right hand side, you see the long offices, walk in the back. Termites have built a 2 meter high nest in there. Ghana Atomic needs reorganization, we agree. But Ghana Atomic has to be correct to the people who are loyal to it too. Minister, please withdraw this. I respect you. I've had lunch with you. I've had meeting with you. We have brought prosperity and jobs. Please do not try to discredit us. Queen Mary College was a nuclear teaching center. We've seen the man who headed it. We've seen the decommissioning. We've seen those who had doubts and created doubts that it's never been. Now they can see endorsed by 2 university and a government embassy. This is how the souls operate. My staff in Ghana are at this moment looking at what's the next step. We have received the letter to leave by September. We are organizing it. We'll leave the premises because it was too small and the land given to us had no license to be given. My senior manager, Benjamin, he's a scientist, and his CV shows he went for a job at Atomic Energy Commission in Vienna. He was one of the top 2 left to be selected, but as a Ghanaian, he would not be accepted. So he's a senior in his job and his position. He's the most talented person I know, and he's the most loyal person to Ghana I know. So, we come back to those who thought they have a thriving time in past 1 hour. You got your shot against your bow again. Try to intimidate, we release data and information. It's on there. The minister's advisors advise him wrong. He has to reorganize himself. The water we produce is certified as water, we sell it as water. It's the people who are using it the way they want for what they see. And at the same time, those who have used it the way they want and what effect they've seen, they would like the government to allow the research that confirms all of it. Letters have been sent to FDA and letters have been sent to standard, and the standard flatly refused the letter from the Atomic because they say we have certified it, it works, it's correct in what it says. And the same with our waters. This all has come because you have to understand, because of all these slanders and everything else which has been sent in by Mr. Lawrence and his team, and they thought they score. Every time they try to do something, they create more mayhem for themselves. They are just getting discredited everywhere. And very soon, we'll discredit them in somewhere else, you will see. They thought they had the upper hand. Now, yesterday and today, we've seen how with their lies have made a liar out of the government. And now government understand exactly what is dealing with them. Our people will release these papers directly to the press in Ghana and to the office of the president. Ghana's president motto was one factory, one district, and his inauguration, and attracting investment into Ghana to support, create new sciences. We have met all criteria. The minister has decided to listen to a bunch of bandits outside, letting the white man rule the country. The position of the minister is unattainable. We ask for the resignation of the minister and we supply enough papers. I would like to give you an advice, Minister. Please do not push, and please stop retracting. All the things you've done has to be retracted. All your allegations has to be retracted. And in my next teachings, if we see another attack or any more problems, we give directions to where to find a lot of things. Your Excellency President Nana, you're the head of the nation. You are making decisions on the future of the nuclear industry of your country. Please go to the Atomic and walk into the building of the Atomic. Buildings are derelict. Nobody can work because they are not safe to work. So what my advice is to the Ghanaian government, Your Excellency President Nana, we did not ask for anything. We got attacked and we stayed in the offices and buildings of atomic, and we said we bring enough cash as part of your shareholding that all the buildings can be renovated. They have not been touched since 1965. We are investors in the country. We stay loyal, as all our staff are highly educated people, and I love working in Africa. As I said yesterday, we are exporting out of Africa into Europe, and should be the same. The power unit, which is supposed to be, he says, I don't know if it works. Yes, it does, because it's certified by the Office of Government, which is independent from any ministers, and they have issued certification for it. The water system is a water pure, and it's the people who decide what it does. We do not promote anything but pure water. It's been tested, and the new factory will go into supplying the whole of West Africa. We have, and we are transferring huge sums of money to see Ghana will reach the pinnacle of science. I ask for two things. First is the retraction of the accusation and the slander, and secondly, everything which has been said about Keshe Foundation has to be withdrawn by the minister. My officers and our supporters in Ghana will release the information into Ghanaian public. Not us. We said we don't want to take part, but they say it has to be known. We knew such attack was set up by us, by the members of the government who were inside. We said we do not move. I would like to know what would be the next step. Discrediting the discreditors or huge bank accounts hidden in foreign national offices. Now you see how the soul of the man plays the life of the man. I am loyal to the nation of Ghana and will bring our business in. We carry on with our work and we expand that Ghana become the center of the Keshe Foundation for the whole of West Africa. We create another 400 to 600 jobs by Christmas. It's all going through. And the nation can afford and accept such a gift from for his citizens and for its nationals and